This section we're doing today is about adding and subtracting linear expressions. Please pull out your red pen and fill in the notes on this slide. A linear expression is an algebraic expression where the exponent of each variable is no higher than a 1. So what's the exponent on this that I just wrote, x squared?
2.
2. What's the exponent on x cubed? 3. What's the exponent on 4 to the 5th? 5. As you can see here, an algebraic expression where the exponent of each variable is no higher than a 1. All right, so these are good examples. This, you technically could have a little 1 right there. This could technically be a little 1, all right? So the exponents there are no higher than 1. What is the exponent on this one?
2.
A 2. So that's not a linear expression. What's the exponent on that one? 5. So that's also not a linear expression. And the final one, what is their exponent? 3. So these are not examples of linear expressions. Today we're only going to be dealing with linear expressions. At this time you just need your pencil. We are going to find the sum. Help me out to understand. Do you think there's any point in having the parentheses around that x minus 2? No, there's really not. Here's why. There's no number outside of it that says like 2 where I have to multiply by everything on the inside. So really there is no need to have those parentheses. So we're going to drop down what was inside the parentheses, but you are allowed to get rid of those parentheses. So if everyone would, with your pencil, drop it down without those parentheses. Let's look at the next one. For this example, is there any number that is outside the parentheses that I need to multiply everything by on the inside? No, there is not. So guess what? Because all it is a plus sign out here, I'm allowed to drop down my plus sign and drop down everything else that is inside of those parentheses. Our goal here is to get rid of parentheses. Now that I have gotten rid of my parentheses, we're going to do what we did last week. Underline and circle the like terms. The first thing you see there is an x. How many x's are here where I underlined?
2.
There's only 1 where I underlined, so I'm going to put a little 1 right there. Who else is in the x family?
3x.
3x. Now remember, every number has a sign, and that sign is directly in front of that number. Very good. Now I have some constants. Do you guys remember what a constant is? A number that stands alone. The -2 is standing alone. Who else is a constant? The +8. Please make sure you are underlining and circling anytime you have a problem that looks like this. What should I add together first? The variable term or the constant?
Variable.
Very good. So guys, what is 1x plus 3x? 4x. Now we're going to add our constants together. What is -2 plus 8?
6.
+6. So instead of just writing a 6, remember in between each expression, you have to have a plus or a minus sign. What is mine going to be? A positive or a plus sign. Now if I want to combine those, would the answer be 10x?
No. Why
not?
Because the 6 doesn't have the...
Those are not like terms. They are not in the same family, so it cannot be simplified together. This is already in simplest terms. Okay, so our final answer is 4x plus 6. Let's go on to problem B. Jalen, do I need the parentheses around -4y plus 3? No, there's no number that's sitting out here that I need to distribute. So instead, I'm just going to drop down -4y plus 3, and we do not need those parentheses anymore. Here's the deal. You are not allowed ever to underline and circle if there are parentheses there. Okay, you have to drop it down and get rid of those parentheses before you can underline and circle them. Next, I have a plus sign here. Plus is good. We're happy whenever it's a plus sign because it means I can just drop down the plus and everything else here can just drop down without the parentheses. So we've got 11y minus 5. Now we have a normal looking problem like what we had that we worked with on Thursday and Friday of last week. Let's underline and circle. Ava, what should I underline? And what should I circle? Excellent. What should I start with, the variable term or the constants?
Variable term.
Variable term. Trenton, what would -4y plus 11y be? Do I have the same sign or different sign? Okay, so subtract and take the sign of the larger number. If we're combining these two, 11 minus 4. 7, and what family is it in? The y family, very good. Einar, positive 3 minus 5. Okay, so listen, I've got positive 3 minus 5. I'm going to subtract. 5 minus 3 is 2. Take the sign of the larger number. Was the larger number a positive or a negative? A negative, so it's minus 2. Remember, those are in different families, so we cannot combine those terms because they're not alike. The next instructions asked us to find the difference. Whenever it says the word difference, that means we are going to be subtracting. So let's look at our first expression here, 5x plus 6. Do I need those parentheses?
No.
I do not. So let's drop down the first without the parentheses. Now here's where it gets tricky. If there's ever a minus on the outside, I cannot just drop things down because I actually have to distribute that minus. Now let me ask you this, just on a separate note. What is 5 times 1?
5.
Okay, what is 10 times 1?
10.
What is 30 times 1?
30.
Then what do you think negative 2x plus 6 times 1 would be?
12.
No, it's
Negative 8. I mean,
It's
4.
negative.
Guys, it's just itself. Anything multiplied by the number 1 equals itself. So it's not changing. So negative 2x plus 6 times 1 is negative 2x plus 6. All right, so we got to remember that right now. As I teach you something, I want you to pull out your red pen. We are going to be multiplying this by a 1. So it already says minus, but I want to put a 1 right here. So use your red pen, because if I multiply 1 by this, it's not going to change what it is. It's just multiplying by itself, by the number 1. But one thing you've got to understand, okay, I've got to distribute that negative 1 to everything on the inside. So take your red pen and do a little arrow like this. If I am multiplying that negative 1 times negative 2x, I also have to multiply that negative 1 times the other term that's in my parentheses, the positive 6. So now let's see what we come up with. Negative 1 times negative 2x, what would that be? If I have two negatives multiplied together, the answer is positive. So this would be a positive 2x. Now I have to multiply that negative 1 times the second term, the positive 6. What is negative 1 times positive 6? Negative 6. All right, that's the hardest part that you have to do whenever there is a negative outside of parentheses. Now it's just a normal looking problem like we would always do. Make sure you're using your pencil. Let's underline and circle the like terms. Matthew, what else is like the 5x? Positive 2x. And what else is like the plus 6? The negative 6. Okay? Because those are both constants. They are numbers that stand alone. Now let's add these together. Ava, 5x plus 2x, 7x. Ava, what's plus 6 minus 6? 0. It cancels out. So you could just take your pencil and do one little line right there through it. Do you think that I need to write 7x plus 0? No. Okay, you actually will look a lot smarter if you just tell me in simplified version the answer is 7x. Let's move on to the right-hand side. I've got the same kind of issue here again, where you can see that there is a negative right outside of the parentheses. Do I need the first set of parentheses, class? No. So let's drop it down without parentheses. Can I just get rid of the next set of parentheses? No, why not?
Because it has the negative sign.
It has a negative sign outside of it. So once again, pull out your red pen. This means I am minusing one of these. But I've got to distribute that negative 1 to everything inside the parentheses. So take your red pen and show me that you understand the negative 1 gets multiplied by the first term and the negative 1 gets multiplied by the second term. Once you've done that, please put your red pen back up at the top of your desk. Now let's multiply these out. The first one I'm looking at is negative 1 times positive 8y. What will my sign be, negative or positive?
Negative.
It is going to be a negative. And what is 1 times 8y? Just plain old 8y. And now you're getting rid of those parentheses. I've got one more that I still have to do, though. -1 times -6. What's the answer? +6. So bring down a +6. Noah, help me underline and circle my like terms. Not 8y. Good job. And what will I circle? Excellent. Now, guys, we're going to combine the y family first, because remember, we always combine the variable term first. 7y and -8y. Same sign or different sign? Same sign, add and keep, different sign, subtract and take. So what do you get? -1y. When you're doing that, you can keep the 1 there, or you could just write -y. It means the same thing either way. Now let's compare or add together our constants. Huang, what is 5 + 6? 11. So should I be adding the 11 or subtracting it? I am going to add it. So the correct answer is -y + 11. Now I've just taught you how to do this one way, but I want to also teach you how to do it another way. So this answer that we just did right here, problem B, I want you to write the original problem to the right of problem B again, so I can show you a new way to do it. So you guys are going to be doing it over here off to the side. Obviously, I do not have enough room to do it there, so I'm actually going to write it underneath. But remember, you're just rewriting the original problem to the right side of that original problem for problem B. Okay, so my goal right now is just to teach you a different way. I actually prefer this way, but I do not care which way you do it. So let's just look at this first. Do I need the parentheses around the first set of expression? Nope, so I'm going to drop it down without the parentheses. Am I allowed to just get rid of this second set of parentheses? No, why not? Okay, because there's a minus sign right there. Would you prefer to have a plus sign or a minus sign? A plus sign makes it a lot easier. So I am going to give you permission to actually change this to a plus sign. Now, normally we always have to drop down the same exact sign that's there. This is one special exception time that I'm going to say, it's okay, because we like to add instead of subtract when we have linear expressions. However, there is a rule. If you just randomly switch a negative that's outside to a positive, you have to switch every single term that is inside of those parentheses also. So instead of positive 8y, what will I have? Negative 8y. And instead of -6, I will change it to a positive 6. When you see something like this and you have a plus sign next to a minus sign, who always wins? The negative, because when you add a negative, it means you are subtracting. So just cross out that plus sign like that with your pencil. Now I've got a problem that looks like what we normally want it to. Underline the y family and circle the constants. What is 7y minus 8y? -1y, or we just say -y. What's 5 + 6? 11. So here's my question to you. We did that different, but did I get the same answer as when I did it the other way?
Yep.
Yes, you did. Okay. I want to do one more example. I want us to do problem A to see if we can still get the same kind of answer, but in a different way. Let's look at problem A. If you would, rewrite the original problem over here to the left. On your guys' paper, you've got a little bit more room. So look at 2A and rewrite that original problem to the left of 2A. For room's sake, I'm going to write it underneath. Okay, so once again, I just rewrote this original problem, and I'm rewriting it down here. You guys are putting it over here to the left of your problem, okay, because you've got more space than I do. Okay, we're going to do it the other way that I just taught you first. Do I need the parentheses on the first example? No. Nope, there's nothing on the outside that I have to distribute, so I can just say it's 5x plus 6. Remember, for this kind of rule, I told you we don't love to have negatives right here, so we're just going to switch that to a positive. All right, so we are now going to switch that to a plus. If I switch this minus to a plus, what do I have to do to every single thing in the parentheses? Change it to the opposite. So instead of -2x, it's going to be Positive 2x. Do you think that I need to put a plus 2x? No, that just means to add, so I don't need to put another plus. What will my positive 6 change to? A negative 6. It's got to be the opposite. And now we are ready to circle and underline the like terms. What should I underline?
5x and 2x.
What should I circle?
5x and your 2x.
Positive 6 and negative 6. What should I combine first, the variable term or my constants? What does it become? 7x. How about my constants? 0. So should I put plus 0? No, I'm just going to keep it as a 7x. Guys, is that the same answer that we got up there? Yes, it is. So it's showing you you're allowed to do it either way. How many of you guys like doing it the very first way, where you take that -1 and you distribute it? How many of you would prefer to do it up here? Okay, how many of you guys like it better down here, where you just get rid of the negative and turn it into a positive? For me, that is the way that is definitely easier. So from now on, when I teach it, I'm going to teach it to you the second way. But I wanted you to understand why it is that we're allowed to do that. Okay, so we're going to do a think, pair, share, where we just kind of try to think about it, see if we can get this figured out. Do I need the parentheses on the first one? No, so drop it down with no more parentheses. As you can see out here, there is a plus sign. Because it's a plus sign, am I allowed to get rid of the parentheses? Yes, there's no number that I have to distribute, so I can bring down my plus and drop everything else down. Now I want you guys on your own to circle and underline and try to see what the sum would be for this problem. As I walked around, I'd say about half of you got it correct. Most of you remembered to underline and circle the like terms. Guys, -8x plus 8x. That's like a variable term and its opposite. A term and its opposite equals what? 0, okay? Do you think that I need to write 0x? No. If it's a 0, I don't want to know anything about it. It means 0, so it's gone, okay? It canceled out. You could take your pencil and just cross them out and pretend they're not even there. All I'm left with is 4 minus 7. What is 4 minus 7? -3. A few of you guys told me the answer was 3, but you've got to remember to take the sign of the larger number. If your notes do not look like mine, please erase it and fix it. Moving on to the next one. Also, what I just saw there a second ago is I saw some people who were trying to underline and circle while there are parentheses in the original problem. Can you do that?
No.
No, you cannot. So please make sure you are rewriting it and dropping it down. Hayden, do I need to keep my parentheses on this first term? No, I do not. So let's drop it down without the parentheses. Do I need to keep the parentheses on this second term, class?
No.
How come?
Because it has a plus.
It's only a positive on the outside, so I can drop everything down with no more parentheses. Hope, what are my like terms? Half W? 1/4 W? -3 and +3. So the first thing I should I do my constants or should I do my variable term?
Variable term.
Good job. 1/2 plus 1/4. Can I just add those together?
No.
What do I need?
Same denominator.
I need the same denominator. So let's do this off to the side. I've seen a lot of people who are starting to work underneath like this. Move it off to the side, okay? Don't do it directly underneath because we're still working the problem there. So instead, off to the side, what's my common denominator?
4.
4. So if this turns into a 4, what does 1/2 become? 2/4. Let's add those together, guys. What's 2/4 plus 1/4? 3/4. And what family is that in?
W.
The W family. So now we are going to write over here 3/4 W. Now I need to move on to my constants. What is -3 plus 3?
0.
Okay, so should I put plus 0? No. Show me. You can cancel those out, and your final answer is just 3/4 W. Okay, moving on to the next one. Amira, do I need the first set of parentheses there? No, I do not, because there's not a negative or any kind of a number on the outside of that. Am I allowed to get rid of these parentheses, class? No, why not?
Because it has a negative sign.
There's a negative sign outside, and anytime there's a negative sign outside, you either have to multiply everything by a -1 and distribute that, or change that minus to a plus and change everything else inside of those parentheses. You guys choose which one you want to do. Please stand once you have answered it correctly. Okay, as I walked around, there was quite a few people who made small or silly mistakes. So let's just look at this right now. Okay, I'm going to do it where I want to get rid of the minus sign and change it to a positive or a plus sign. If I do that, what do I have to do to every single term inside of there? Change the sign. So instead of positive 6.3, it will become negative 6.3c. Instead of a plus 20, it will be a minus 20. I need everyone looking at their notes to make sure you have this. Remember, only about 1 or 2 of you got this correct, so check to see if you are 1 or 2 of those people, okay? Out of this right here, who always wins in a plus minus? The negative or the minus, so I'm getting rid of that. Now you are allowed to underline and circle. This is the C family. This is the constant family. How many of you would say, Miss Vorpal, my page looks like that? If it doesn't, please erase it and fix it. Now, looking at this, -2, this is where some people messed up. That means -2.0. 6.3, -6.3. Guys, is that the same sign or different sign? Same sign, add and keep. Add the numbers, keep the sign. What do you get? -8.3. A lot of people forgot the negative. They added the numbers but didn't keep the sign. If that's you, erase it. Just fix it, okay? So I now have -8.3c. How many of you would say that's where you made your mistake? Okay, more than half of you. Now let's look at the next one. +5 minus 20. Different signs. Subtract and take the sign of the larger number. What do you get? -15. So the correct answer is -8.3c minus 15. Okay, so tonight's homework is from 3.2. It's 9 problems. Remember, you've got to submit it on Big Ideas and do it on a piece of paper.